Hi everybody, Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, and today's contract tip is a continuation of the series on the 2022 changes to the Georgia Association of Realtors, or GAR, contract package. So today I am going to talk about Form F301, the Seller's Property Disclosure Statement Exhibit. So not a whole lot of changes to this one, but let me go over what these changes are so you'll be aware of it. The first thing they did is in Section A, where it has instructions to the seller and how to complete this statement. They added in April of last year, in the GAR mid-year changes, they added the statement that the seller should provide any additional documentation that is in the seller's possession regarding any of the questions that are included on this disclosure exhibit. Then in the long laundry list of items that the seller fills out and answers questions, information to the best of their knowledge. Just wanted to bring to your attention, it was raised to the GAR Forms Committee that there should be, under the Section 5, the systems and components under HVAC system, there should be an age, a fill in the blank for the age of the HVAC. The GAR Forms Committee has decided to not include the age of the HVAC because that system is made up of a variety of components that may be changed and replaced without it changing the date of the entire system. For example, you could change the condenser coil, you could change the fan. There are various parts of an entire HVAC system that could be replaced, so not all of the parts are the same year. So that would be a bit tricky for a seller to answer, the age of the HVAC system. But what they do have is the date that the HVAC system was last serviced. Continuing on, under the sewer and plumbing related items, they did add, if the drinking water is from a well, has there ever been a test that test results of which indicate the water is not safe? And if yes, what is the date of the testing? And then under the section about soil and boundaries, paragraph C9, back again in the mid-year change, April 15th of 2021, they did add a question that has come up this year repeatedly. Is there a shared driveway, alleyway, or private road servicing the property? Obviously, that is going to be important for information to find out, are there easements related to any of these shared driveways, alleyways, or roads, and what type of deeds are on record related to that, or what type of deeds are going to have to be worked out for the purchase of the property. And then under the section about termites, dry rot, pests, and wood destroying organisms, they broaden the terminology to include all sorts of critters. So it just says, are you aware of any wildlife accessing the attic or other interior portions of the residence? Again, to just sort of broaden that section to include more critters. And then under paragraph 14, under the agricultural disclosure, they have added a whole section regarding a seller who has been receiving a preferential tax treatment based on the use of the property. So there is a term, an acronym CUVA, which stands for Conservation Use value assessment. And basically what that is, well, let me back up a little bit. There is a thing that is called a conservation easement, which is a voluntary legal agreement between a landowner and an easement holder by which the landowner imposes permanent restrictions on the way the land is used. The Georgia Conservation Tax Credit Program provides conservation tax credits to donors of conservation easements. In other words, the Georgia Conservation Tax Credit is a financial incentive for a landowner to help protect Georgia's natural resources. So this CUVA, or Conservation Use Value Assessment, is a 10-year covenant or agreement where a landowner pledges to maintain the land in a qualifying use in exchange for property tax values based on the land's productivity versus the fair market value of the land. And if you break that covenant, for example, develop that land, the owner pays retroactive taxes. So this affects the 2022 GAR contract in a couple of ways. In the seller's property disclosure under the agricultural disclosure, it does have a question: is the property receiving preferential tax treatment as an agricultural property? And then there's a whole explanation that says it is the policy of this state and this community to conserve, protect, and encourage the development and improvement of farm and forest land for the production of food, fiber, and other products, and also for its natural and environmental value. This notice is to inform prospective property owners or other persons or entities leasing or acquiring an interest in real property that property in which they are about to acquire an interest lies within, partially within, or adjacent to an area zoned, used, or identified for farm and forest activities, and that farm and forest activities occur in this area. Such farm and forest activities may include intensive operations that cause discomfort and inconveniences that involve, but are not limited to, noises, odors, fumes, dust, smoke, insects, operations of machinery during any 24-hour period, storage and disposal of manure, and the application of spraying or otherwise of chemical fertilizers, soil amendments, herbicides, and pesticides. One or more of these inconveniences may occur as the result of farm or forest activities which are in conformance with existing laws and regulations and accepted customs and standards. The other place in the 2022 GAR contract where this also shows up is in the land purchase and sale agreement. And in the land purchase and sale agreement, under the prorations section, it has a whole section that states, and this is in, again, the proration section of the land purchase and sale agreement, and this is paragraph B4. It does state, in addition, if buyers' change in the ownership or use of the property will result in rollback taxes being owed because preferential tax treatment of the property for agricultural purposes can no longer be received, then seller shall be solely responsible for the payment of all rollback taxes at closing. The tax the tax assessment would be retroactive to the beginning within that 10 years. Notwithstanding the above, in the event the buyer warrants to the seller herein that the buyer's use or ownership of the property will qualify for continuation of the preferential tax treatment of the property as agricultural property, and the buyer is found to no longer qualify for the same, the buyer shall indemnify and hold the seller harmless from and against all liability for rollback taxes. So just wanted to bring your attention, that is addressed in that. And then while we are on the topic of seller's property disclosures, again, back in April 15th of 2021, one of the mid-year changes that GAR made to the form that was new in 2021, it is the seller's disclosure of latent defects and fixtures checklist. This is GAR F302, brand new in 2021, And then in April of 2021, they modified it a little bit and added a question number 1 regarding seller occupancy. The seller occupies or was the most recent occupant of the property. The seller was not the most recent occupant of the property, or the seller has never occupied the property. So those are check boxes. And then they added another section, just one little checkbox. Seller hereby discloses the known latent defects, either no known latent defects or known latent defects, with fill in the blanks to fill those out. So that's it for the changes to the seller's property disclosure statement, seller's disclosure of latent material defects with the property and fixtures checklist, and just a little bit about CUVA and where that shows up in the land purchase and sale agreement also. I will link below the calendar. We are teaching the Georgia Real Estate Academy. Greg School 6915 is teaching a 3-hour CE class on the 2022 changes to the GAR contract form. So we hope you'll join us. And stay tuned as I continue these videos on the various changes as well. Thank you so much for watching. Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, satisfying your needs with service, innovation, and education.